Hello, everyone. Welcome back to today's episode of Chapter 1 and Beyond. This is Christina, your host. I hope you are all doing so well, staying warm. I know here in Ohio it is absolutely frigid cold, so it can't make up its mind. It's seriously cold to hot to whatever. I don't know. This winter has been absolutely weird, but um, so, today's episode, I realized that I never gave you guys my 26 books to read in 2026. And I thought that would be fun to do. So, because I've already well underway with my January reading. Obviously, we're already halfway into January. It's kind of crazy. But I wanted to do an episode where I give you guys the titles that I put on my 2026 26 to read, and I'm really struggling to get 12 recommendations from friends. So I think I might have to resort to asking ChatGPT for some recommendations because I gave all my friends the restriction of not giving me romance novels, and now no one can give me any recommendations. So I just so yeah, that's my current situation. But yeah, let's just dive right into it. So the first planned book that I have for my 26 to read in 2026 is Between Burning Worlds by Jessica Brody and Joanne Rendell, I believe is the last name. This is the second book in the System Divine series, and I'm absolutely excited for this because like I have rant and raved about this series on my particular podcast here. It is a Les Mis like reimagination type situation with like futuresque like sci-fi fantasy elements, which I thought was absolutely flipping cool. I loved book 1 of this series and I'm really excited about continuing this. So that is my first book planned for 2026 on this list. My second planned book is finishing up um a series that I have been working on, and that is Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. And I'm absolutely intimidated by how big this book actually is. This is her, I believe, Infernal Devices series. So she has the Mortal Instruments series, then she has Infernal Devices. I know there's like the Last Hours series, and then I believe there's Dark Artifices as well. But I've had her books on my shelf for so long, and I'm really excited that I actually am about to complete one of those series in 2026. I'm really excited about this because I do love the characters. I love the timeline that this particular series is in. And I'm really anxious to find out what happens to all these characters in this book. So, um, I'm hoping that this will be something I finish actually in January, because I'm just so anxious to just get it done. So yeah, that is on my list. So planned book 3 is Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. I have heard so many things about Emily St. John Mandel's like writing style and her books. The most infamous one I've heard about is Station 11, but I've heard very, very, very good things about Sea of Tranquility. Um, I'm very excited because like I have never really I've never even touched anything of hers. So I am really curious to see what the big hype is. I know that these books are probably older. That they're not recent releases from what I remember. Yeah, I mean, looking at my hardcover app, it looks like Sea of Tranquility was published in 2012. So I mean, it's an old book. So I mean, I definitely have some books that really date back when it comes to the release date and all that. So I am excited to prioritize that for 2026. For my 26 to read in 2026. Plan book 4. So this one was on my TBR list last year. Never really I started it, but then I kind of got distracted with other books. But this book like kind of intimidates me a lot because of the fact that the size of it is over 1,000 pages. And it is one of my high epic fantasy books that I really need to read off of my shelf, and it's Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings, which is the first book in the Stormlight Archive series. Um, I really just need to get back into it because I absolutely loved, um, like the opening scene of this book, and it was actually my first exposure to Brandon Sanderson. Um, and I really need to read it because like I know that everybody rants and raves about this high fantasy epic series, and coming from someone that has read like J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings series, I wanted to see how it matches up to that. So so yeah, I just want to get it in. I do have the audiobook on Audible, so that might be it. I mean, it might help me a lot when it comes to getting it through and done, like especially if I don't have time to just commit and sit down. Because I'm going to be honest, if I were to just say I have to absolutely physically read these books, it would probably take me a whole year just to read this one book. So, because I just don't have the time, I don't have the attention span, nor am I gonna have the energy to sit there and read 1,000 pages in an allotted amount of time, like a month or whatever. Um, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna be relying on an audiobook and kind of mixing and matching that experience with that. So I'm hoping that the narrator on Audible is not someone that's gonna put me to sleep. I know sometimes with these high fantasy books, the narrators are very monotone, so it gets really, really challenging to get through them. So with that said, on to book five that I have planned. I have another high fantasy, very highly anticipated because I've actually seen this TV series, but I have not read the books, and I feel the shame because I feel like if I'm going to watch a series or a movie adaptation of a book, I really need to read the book before. I mean, there's no police saying that I have to, but um I've regretted like in the past not reading the books prior to seeing the movie adaptation or the TV series adaptation. So, A Game of Thrones by George R. R. Martin. I've had this one on my shelf for gosh knows how long, and I need to get it done. So I do own the audiobook as well for this one. So it's on my list. So we'll see. These like high fantasy, like bulky books do intimidate me a lot. So I'll probably once again tackle the smaller books versus the larger books. But at least that's what the trend has been in past years, at least. But yeah. All right. Plan book six on my list is The Starless Crown by James Rollins. I've never read anything from James Rollins, and I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong, but um, I am really excited about this because I've been told that he is a sci-fi author that recently went to fantasy writing. So I'm very curious on how that whole mix and match switcheroo will work out. Because I've read some really great books that really mix fantasy and sci-fi together, and I think it's done really well, aka Heavenbreaker by Sarah Wolf. I will totally plug that book any chance I can get. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about this one because like just the back description. I don't have these books in front of me. I just have my list. But I recommend checking out the just the description of it, and I would recommend checking it out because it sounds fantastic. All right. So far I have a lot of fantasy and some sci-fi on here. This next one is pure sci-fi. Um, so I do have for Planned Book 7, Service Model by Adrian Tchaikovsky, I believe the last name is. I have not read anything from him either, but based off of like what I've been seeing in the booktube community for all those sci-fi nerds out there, you really intrigued me, and that's why I'm prioritizing it this year. So I love a good book that has like the main character as a android or a robot. I read, I think last year or the year before, I read Antibot, which was very interesting because if you have not read that book, I definitely recommend that one. I've also read by Martha Wells, I believe, the Murder All Systems Red, like Murderbot Diaries series. That one was really good too. So I'm really curious on how Service Model is going to live up. I actually was able to find on the Libby app the audiobook. So I'm really curious. I do physically own the book, but I am really curious on how the audiobook kind of lives up as well. So I've been finding like audiobooks are super enjoyable, and they just provide like a new um, found experience to my book listening and reading experience. So um, definitely recommend checking out audiobooks because you never know which ones you're gonna find that are like just enhance everything. So okay, so moving along here, Planned Book 8, I have The Road of Bones by Demi Winters. I've been hearing really great things about this series. I heard that there's a third book coming out, so that's why I feel like I need to just start it. I have book 1 and 2 on my shelf, but it's about Vikings, and I'm like super excited because I really love that one series. I think it was on the History Channel. It was like Viking series or something like that. But it was like really good, and it's kind of gotten me into this like Norse mythology and like Viking like history fiction and things like that. So I'm really curious on what Demi Winters does, and I'm just super excited about this one. Planned Book 9 is All the Birds in the Sky by Charlie Jane Anders. This is another sci-fi book. Very interested in this one because it's got like an element of witches, and then it's got like a tech startup that's like colliding with each other in this cataclysmic, um, you know, like end of the world situation. I've had this on my shelf probably for about like 4 or 5 years, and I feel like I need to just like get it done. Like it's not that big of a book, and it just sounds super interesting. Like when I in the past couple of years, like I've been trying to prioritize it, but then of course I get distracted. So I just blame my ADHD all the time on that. So yeah, that's my planned book for planned book 9 for 2026. Um, okay, so these next few are kind of out of order, but I'm just gonna read them in the order anyway. But just know that the earlier of this series is on my list too. Um, because actually I'm obsessed with Princess Donut. So the next book that's on my list is The Dungeon Anarchist's Cookbook by Matt Dinneman. I'm actually currently on Carl's Doomsday Scenario, which is also on this list. So I guess I'll tackle Plan Book 10 and Plan Book 12 on this list. But this is a continuation of the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I know everybody and their mother is talking about this series, but I'm obsessed. I absolutely love Dungeons and Dragons. I'm excited because I'm in the middle of a campaign right now, and I'm really excited that it is going to get kicked back up again. And I've missed playing Dungeons and Dragons, but this book series really kind of transports me into like feeling like I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons or some kind of video game. So I'm really excited to like learn more about like the politics and the corporation that runs this game that they're stuck in. I love Princess Donut. Honestly, I've tried to convince my significant other to let me adopt another cat so that I can name it Princess Donut. um, and so far, I haven't gotten my way yet. Um, my cats probably would. My current cats would probably be very very upset if I got any more cats. But uh, so yeah, I have those two on my list. The planned book 11. I know I kind of went out of order here, is Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian. So this one has been on my shelf for exactly 5 years. I have the first book and the third book in this series, but I don't have the second book of this trilogy. So um, I'm on a book buying ban because I really do want to get my physical TBR down. I think I'm going to determine if I'm going to keep this on my shelf or not based off of just reading Ash Princess. This is a YA trilogy, so that's why I'm like a little like, okay, I'm not gonna jump the gun on buying book two. I may just get it from the library and just call it, because if I, read it and then I find out that I'm not never gonna reread this series again, why waste the money on it? So yeah, but that is on my list just because like I've like really been trying to make these lists where I take the books that have been sitting on my shelf for the longest and then just prioritize those and then sprinkle in ones that I really 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 want to read. So that's how mainly I dictate my, like last year I had 25 to read in 2025, and then now 2026 I read 2020 or 26 books to read in 2026. So yeah, that's kind of like how I do my list. Um Now when I say planned versus actual, I know sometimes I will switch things out. So like I'll plan for it at the beginning, but I'll track and make sure like did I actually read the book at the end of the year and stuff like that. Which might be fun. I may do that going forward because I didn't have a great way of tracking that last year, which is why I didn't do a podcast episode for that. Um, but yeah, I know I just went on a tangent there, so let's just move along. So obviously, I mentioned Carl's doomsday scenario. I'm gonna be honest, so spoiler alert, I'm about 80% of the way in through this book. I've been physically reading it because I don't actually have the audiobooks. I know they exist on Audible. I just can't really fathom spending a credit on a book that I already own. I guess if you know, you know. so, um, but yeah, Plan Book 13, I have Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray. This is the third book in the Diviner series, which is a YA series, but this is a YA series I absolutely can get behind because, like, it's Roaring Twenties. The character set in this series is absolutely fantastic. The stakes are high with, what they're dealing with, and it's just so beautifully done. And I'm very excited about Before the Devil Breaks You. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna finish out this entire series because there's only the King of Crows after this. So I'm really, really, really excited to see what happens with these characters and how it progresses, and I just love everything about this series. If you have never read the Diviner series, I absolutely recommend you pick it up. It is that good. Like if you like necromancers and you like, um, like New Orleans style like settings and things like that, this is the series for you. Seriously. I was first introduced to this series probably about like 5 years ago. It was like my first exposure to booktube too, and like she kept ranting and raving. I can't remember who the booktuber was. I don't think she even does booktube anymore, to be honest. Like she's switched her channel, so I haven't really been keeping track. But um I can't remember her name, but honestly, she ranted and raved about the Diviner series, and I agree with her. Absolutely, I will continue to hype that series up. Definitely recommend it. Um, okay, so moving along, book 14. I have Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. So I have seen the movie, but I did not realize how awesome it is that there are more than just one book of this. I thought this was just a single standalone. No, this it's a series. I'm very excited about this. It's like one of those original like book series. Like they're from the 80s and I'm absolutely all for it. So I absolutely love this movie and I'm really excited to see how much more detail we get because I wanted more from the movie. I'm going to be honest. I loved the movie, but I wanted more. I wanted to find out like about the alien race. I wanted to find out about all the things like behind all the military training and how, their selections and all that. Um, I don't think it's much of a spoiler me mentioning this to you because like if you have seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So I did plan this as my priority read for 2026, but I am trying to find any way possible to get a hold of more of the books in this series because I only own the first book of this series. So it's on my list. Planned book 15. So I've heard on and off things about Cornelia Funk. She is, I think, a Danish author. I can't remember. Hang on. Oh my gosh, sorry. No, Cornelia Funk is a German author. German. Sorry. That's a totally different region. Um, So I have like a few series of hers on my shelf. I have the Inkheart series. I have in this other one called Reckless. And I was very interested in Reckless only because one the cover is really intriguing. Like it is stunning. If you have never seen the cover of this book, I definitely recommend. But like Reckless is about this like treasure hunter or something um in a world behind a mirror. It really feels like Alice in Wonderland but like in a totally different way. I don't know, like it just almost feels like Alice in Wonderland to me. But yeah, like it's got like the magic, it's got the fighting, and it sounds super freaking cool. So I do have Reckless, Fearless, and I think I have I think there's like one more that I have, the Petrified Flesh or something like that. There's actually several of them in this series. I think there's like 4 or 5 books in this series. There's like some subset ones, but I personally have Reckless on this list. So I wanted to at least start it. So yeah, so that is on my list. That is book 15 planned on this list. Uh, Planned book 16. I'm just gonna keep moving along because we have 26 books to cover here, folks. So at the end of 2025, I had started The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Boy, that first book left me on such a cliffhanger that I absolutely had to keep going. So I do have the Dragon Republic on this list, and I am so excited to find out what happens further in this series. I will say, um, I read Catabasis, and actually my first exposure to R.F. Kuang was Babel or Babel. Um, I ended up like tabling that one because I couldn't handle like the abuse that happens in that book. Just a trigger warning for y'all. I can't handle very well like abuse situations in books, so I have to like kind of be in a different mindset state, if you will, before I pick that one back up. But the Poppy War, absolutely amazing first book, and I want to finish this series. So I do have the Dragon Republic on this list. I love R.F. Kuang's writing style with the Poppy War. I know this is one of her earlier works, but I think it's very, very, very well done, especially for a fantasy type read. So I do have that on my list. Planned book 17, I have The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. I love Marie Lu. Like she is like my new favorite author. And I have so many of her books on my shelf. I read the Warcross series duology last year. I read the Red City, which starts her new series of alchemists and stuff. I ate it up. I love her writing. I absolutely need to keep going. So I do have Kingdom of Back on here. I think I have another series of hers on my shelf, but I'm gonna be honest, like I feel like I need to kind of pace myself because if I, really keep feeding that train, then I'm gonna be like out of books to read and then I'm gonna be sad. So yeah. So the Kingdom of Back is on that list. My 18th book on this list, actually, the next two books on this list are by the same author. So The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig is the next one on this list. I did recently purchase this, I think last year, and I never got around to it, but I've been hearing like mixed things about it, and that's why I'm like intrigued. The fact that she's kind of like this like seer or like kind of um I don't know how to describe it. Like she could predict the future or something like that. It sounded interesting. I'm really hoping that it doesn't get totally discombobbled by all the romancy part, but I guess I'll find out. Um, the 18th book I have on this list is One Dark Window. I really want to tackle this duology. I figure I'll just put the first one on here, but I'm sure Two Twisted Crowns, which is the second one in the series, I'm sure that one's going to get knocked out real fast after One Dark Window because everyone that I've talked to that has done One Dark Window, they immediately go to Two Twisted Crowns because they're like just I guess there's like a cliffhanger and they absolutely need to find out what happens. So yeah. So Rachel Gillig is now going to be on my list. I have never read anything by her, so this will be very interesting to see. A lot of new authors that I'm being exposed to, but hey, they're on my shelf. So I mean, I feel like I need to do what I'm intending to do and that is to diminish this physical TBR. So yeah. Okay, so plan book 20. Wow. All right, we are already on 20. The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton. I've been hearing that this is a dystopian, which I would not really think from the title. And then like based off of like what the description seemed like it was more of like science fiction. But yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I've been hearing really great things about it, but then I've been hearing not so great things about it. So um I do I do plan to get this through the library, through the Libby app, because it's always available. So I feel like, this would be a quick one to knock out. So, Plan Book 21, The Last Watch by J.S. Dews. This one has been also on my shelf for probably about 5 years. Science fiction series. This is the first in that series. Super stoked about it because I've never read anything from this author either, and it's just been sitting on my shelf. So, gotta get it done. Um, Planned Book 22 is Words of Radiance, which is the second in the Stormlight Archive series by Brandon Sanderson. Um, I feel like I feel like I am like kind of repeating some series on this list, but I feel like if I make enough progress with some of these series, it just makes the most sense. So, um, my goal is to try to eliminate some of the series I'm in the middle of and just like get through them at least a publication or ending. Hopefully most of them I can just get to the ending. Because a lot of these series are finished already. Um, so yeah, so that one's on my list. Plan Book 23, A Clash of Kings, which is the second in the Game of Thrones series by George R. R. Martin. Um, really excited for this specific one in the series because I believe this starts introducing, I believe it starts introducing like um Targaryens and things like that. So um am really curious on how they introduce like the different characters, like kind of how they unraveled like the different character bases and the different regions in the series. I'm really curious on how he did it in the books itself. I've been told that it's really, really hard to keep track sometimes. So, I'm just gonna soak up the experience when it comes to Game of Thrones series, to be honest. Okay, so Plan Book 24. You know, Diviner series. The King of Crows is on this list by Libba Bray. So, like I said, Before the Devil Breaks You, that is book 3. This is the final in the Diviner series, and I do have that on this list. Plan Book 25 is another new series that I will be starting. It is Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. I was really excited because this was the first book that I ever got signed on my shelf, and I've been afraid to touch it because it's just so pretty, and I just don't want to like ruin it. But I feel like I really, really need to start reading this series because I do have all 3 in this series, and it just sounds fantastic. But it's just like, the duo. I think it's like a duo or a trio or something. um, Actually, I have the book right here. So it says on the back, a squire, the survivor of failed quest, an immortal, timeless, and unfathomable, an assassin, skilled and heartless, an old sorceress, holding secrets behind her teeth, and a pirate's daughter, the ward's last hope. The heroes are gone, but the fight to save the world has only begun. It sounds really interesting. It kind of I'm gonna be honest, like it kind of reminds me of like maybe like a Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings situation where you got like these unlikely individuals teaming up for one cause. So I am really excited about this series. It is an awfully thick first book. Um but honestly, I'm here for it. So and I think I have read the first in her series for the Red Queen. I think that's the series that she did. There was some other book that I had read of hers, and I really liked her writing style. So when I saw that she was doing like an adult fantasy, high fantasy, um, I instantly got the books on my shelf. But it's been years since I've picked them up since purchasing them, and I just really need to get it prioritized. So that one is also on my list. And then the final book planned for my 26 to read in 2026 is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. Um, so this is the third book in the Mortal Instruments series that she has. I have tried to get through this series in the past, but I'm going to be honest, my YA days have been coming pretty numbered. um, I just have no desire to read YA like books. And this is more of like a how do they describe it? That I think it's like an urban fantasy series. It's not high fantasy and it's not regular fantasy. I guess like because of the elements of the city and like just modern day, they claim it as urban fantasy. So um, I am excited to at least read book 3 and see where this goes with Clary and Jace. um, I know it got a little weird where they thought they were brother and sister or something like that. I don't know. There was some kind of element that just like kind of creeped me out a little bit. But I do like like the shift shapers, and we have like kind of like vampire esque like characters, and we have like mages and things like that. I really like that a lot. Um so yeah, I'm really excited to kind of continue that series as well. Who knows? I may be able to finish all 6 of those books and knock out that series too. But yeah, that's my list for 26 to read in 2026. Let me know if you guys are still listening. I would love if you guys can like, subscribe, whatever it is you guys do on my YouTube channel. I know Spotify does allow for subscribing and liking episodes, so I would love if you support my podcast. It helps a lot. It also gives me feedback that people are actually listening, and this is alive and well. So, um, yeah. So if you have like read any of these books, let me know in the comments because you can absolutely leave comments. So I'd love to get your feedback, and I hope that you guys are doing well and you have a happy reading year just like me because I am excited for 2026. Woo! So, all right, take care, guys. Until next episode. I'll see you guys later. Bye.